The Chargers are back, baby. Thursday Night Football just ended, and here is my instant reactions. First, going into this game, the Chargers were in a pickle. We were 1-3 in our past 4 games, dealing with a mountain of injuries, and all momentum on our 3-0 start to the season was lost. You guys remember me being here, talking into this microphone about the Chargers being Super Bowl contenders at 3-0. Everything's gone to shit since that very moment. We almost desperately needed this win. And going into the game, there were major questions on whether Joe Alt was going to play, Trey Pipkins was going to play, the left and right tackles for the Chargers this year. Joe Alt played. I'm not sure what happened with Trey Pipkins. I think the team just decided to give Bobby Hart one more round at tackle, and he's been doing okay, but we're going to talk more about Bobby Hart. Going into this game, I talked about it a lot in my Pickems challenge and podcast throughout the week. Make sure you guys like the video and are subscribed to the channel notifications, by the way, so you could be here for those podcasts. I was saying that the Chargers are going to carve up this Vikings defense because Justin Herbert has gotten so good against the blitz. It's something that was a weakness of his when he was younger that quickly became a strength as he got older. And we see this with veteran QBs all the time. And I've been saying this about the Vikings all season, that they're going to struggle against veteran QBs specifically because they don't have the talent matchup for matchup to lock down opponents' weapons. They don't have the front seven to dominate games. They just have the genius in Brian Flores trying to make it work with the athletes he does have. Sometimes it's just a sum game. Who has more athletes? The Chargers offense has twice as many as the Vikings defense has. And then defensively, it was all about how can the Chargers front seven just be better. Had a sloppy game, maybe rusty game from Denzel Perryman, Dan Henley playing together for the first time in a year. Khalil Mack's return. Obviously, he didn't play full snappage last week. He did this week, and that changed things by itself. Joe Alt and Khalil Mack changed things a ton for this Chargers team. This is what I was saying in the pregame lead up, and it's exactly what happened. Now in the first quarter, we got a little bit lucky, and this is crazy because the Chargers never get lucky with anything. It seems like every injury is the worst possible outcome it could have been. Every ball bounces the exact way we needed to. The refs are always against us, and I know it seems like a cheap cop-out, but they constantly are annoying the shit out of me for terrible officiating at the worst possible time for my team. Call it a coincidence. I'm not saying that the refs have any kind of vendetta against the Chargers. I just think we are cursed in general. But this one play where Justin Herbert stepped back and threw it straight at a defender, Isaiah Rodgers of all people, someone who a couple weeks ago had a pick six, a strip, forced like a fumble or two, and also another pick, let the ball. But I will say this was incomplete because Justin Herbert threw that ball so hard the DB couldn't catch it. It went straight through his arms. Herbert does that intentionally. No, but what really happened on this play is that Justin Herbert got lit up quick, and we knew the Vikings were going to send the blitz, just like I was saying. And Herbert, just starting off the game, didn't want to take the sack, so he tried to get the ball out quick to Ladd McConkey, but Ladd McConkey didn't turn around to catch the pass. A lot of fans don't realize how close every play is to going this way. One slight miscommunication, and it could go this way. It's not even necessarily the quarterback's fault. He's throwing it to Ladd McConkey, trying to anticipate when Ladd's going to stop, and Ladd just took an extra 2 steps in his route that Herbert wasn't expecting. Herbert expected him to stop right in between those 2 defenders and step up and catch the pass, or at least it be incomplete. He makes these tight window throws over and over and over again all game. Eventually, one's going to get intercepted, especially when you throw it as much as the Chargers have been throwing this year. So everyone's saying, oh, this is an awful interception. What is Justin Herbert doing? It's so clear what he's doing if you know even 1% of football. And it's so clear what happened if you know anything about football. This wasn't Justin Herbert going full Tua and just throwing it straight into coverage. This was Herbert trying to make a routine sack avoidance that he does every game, and the receiver just miscommunicated with him and took an extra step. Wasn't turned around in time to come back to the football. And that's what's so great about Herbert is he trusts his receivers to come back to the football. This is why Trey Harris is getting more playing time. This is why Keenan Allen is starting over Quentin Johnston. This is why Ladd McConkey is who he is, because Quentin Johnston struggles with that fact, coming back to the football, hands out, catching it in front of DBs. Herbert's greatest strength is timing with that, and he is not scared to try and fit it in on 2nd and 3rd down. Keenan Allen is a freaking legend at that shit. Philip Rivers took him to zone coverage Hall of Fame school. So is Ladd. Ladd's a beast at it usually, but in this situation, just didn't realize how hot it was going to be. I think you do put most of the blame on Herbert. Maybe you should just eat this first sack. But even after the near pick 6, it gets overturned. We had like a 3rd and 13 after that, completed it, drove down the field. Even with Herbert getting hit almost every play, he gets up smiling like, ha ha ha, you can't hurt me, puny humans. And we still score on the touchdown to Oronde Gadsden, who is an absolute steal of a find in the 5th round for the Chargers at tight end. This is what Harbaugh does. This is what Chef Ortiz does. If you look at Joe Ortiz's 2 draft class now as the Chargers GM, we have not fixed the interior O-line. Maybe next draft class class were going to solve that problem. And if they do, I trust them because they've hit on 80% of their draft picks, not just through the first 4 rounds or 3 rounds, draft picks 1 through 7 rounds. After the Vikings did not get that huge momentum play in the pick 6, the Chargers went all gas. The defense was all over Wentz, torturing him. They tortured Tua. They tortured Geno Smith. They tortured Patrick Mahomes. Tortured Bo Nix. A lot of people don't realize Bo Nix had 90 yards halfway through the 3rd quarter, and all of those yards had come on a bomb to Cortland Sutton where we blew a coverage. The Vikings offense was trying to fight their way back into this game, but right before halftime, Herbert hit Ladd McConkey up the sideline. Perfect throw. He didn't even have any room to step up into the pocket, so it's all arm strength on the dot, right over Ladd's shoulders, right in his hands. By the way, these uniforms are the best in the league. I know I hyped up the yellows last week. I tried to get on board with those. I still am on board with those yellow jerseys, but they are nothing compared to these all navies, man. These things are so fire, so clean. If I'm the Chargers seeing this and seeing how they performed in them, I would seriously consider making these the new home uniforms. And that's not even a joke. How lit would it be if we can get rid of the Rams colors and stop matching them and we have our own navy blue? We get the 2006 type of field Chargers uniform combos next year. As I said, the Vikings were trying to fight their way back into it, but that last touchdown to Ladd right before half put a dagger in their heart. Then we got the ball back right after halftime and did a long clock-killing drive to end up getting a field goal, I believe, which really just took the Vikings' souls out of it because now the clock is working against you. You're down by 3 scores, and the offense just showed that your halftime adjustments didn't do shit. It got to the point where the defense and offense were dominating so much. Later on in the 4th quarter, the Chargers had to score 2 touchdowns in one drive. Herbert QB sneaked in one, but then we got a weird false start penalty, which they have not called on the Eagles this season yet, by the way. Well, they just called it on my Chargers, and we run it once a week. Anyways, you scoot him back 5 yards, and he's like, "You just give me another chance to put another highlight on the board." And this touchdown by Herbert, man, he makes it look like he's playing Madden on easy mode. It is so much fun to watch, and I watch it with my wife, and I try to look over and get her reactions. And because she started watching football very seriously in 2019, 2020, right when we got Herbert, she's accustomed to this Superman style of play where he's rolling back 15 yards, juking guys out, and then coming up 15 yards and then throwing laser dots into the end zone, doing all this insane movement for a 6'6" human with a rocket launcher of an arm. It's like Matthew Stafford, if Matthew Stafford could scramble kind of like Josh Allen. She's used to this alien running around and doing this stuff every week. Even in games we lose, he does something like this. And I'm trying to explain to her how rare this is. Everyone's going to criticize Herbert forever until he shakes the playoff woes and goes on a Super Bowl run, basically. But if you watch this guy's tape and you just watch the film, you're left kind of mesmerized. And I'm proud he's our quarterback. The Chargers beat the Vikings 37-10, even better than I thought they would. I do feel bad for guys like Wentz who fought through that game through a lot of pain. Justin Jefferson, who was going through some mental pain in that game, knowing that if he had a quarterback like Justin Herbert, he would be putting up crazy numbers. They just kept referencing how Daniel Jones was on the Vikings, how Sam Darnold was on the Vikings, how Kirk Cousins was on the Vikings. They let them all go, and now they're in this mess. I feel bad for the Vikings overall. If there's Vikings fans watching this, sorry for you guys. I feel like the Vikings are the NFC's version of the Chargers. I leave this game thinking that the Chargers have as many weapons as I've seen in my lifetime, and Justin Herbert is an alien paired with those weapons. We punted 0 times in this game. Gadsden's proven that he is going to be a problem for the entire league. He is a mismatch. And if the Chargers can score and possess the ball like that every week, now that we got Joe Alt back, which was a complete difference maker for our offense. We went from giving up 29 pressures one week. Joe Alt gave up 1 pressure. Bobby Hart, I think, gave up 0 pressures. All the problems were coming from the interior O-line. The tackles are sealed again, hopefully. But this is where the bad news comes in. But good news still. The Chargers got even more banged up. Derwin James has a low ankle sprain. That's already come out. He's going to miss next week probably. I know a lot of people are saying it's 10 days rest. He's going to be ready by the Titans game. I don't even know if you're the Chargers, if you want to put him out there for the Titans game, unless he is 150,000%, doesn't even feel the ankle sprain as if it didn't happen anymore. We have the Steelers and the Jaguars the weeks after that. We could get the Titans without Derwin James. We could beat the Vikings without Derwin James. I'm more worried about the Tony Jefferson injury. Not much news has come out on that because he's Derwin James' backup, but he's also just our deep middle safety that's been holding it down when we bring Derwin into the box. That is a superpower for our defense, especially late in the season in key moments, key third downs. We need Derwin James close to the line of scrimmage. We need them scared that he's going to blitz and he's in man coverage on their best weapon on the interior side of the field, or he's blitzing on these third downs. We need that fear. We need that attention from an offense placed on both Khalil Mack and Derwin James in the box. And we can't do that without Tony Jefferson. Not confidently at least. RJ Mickens played great in replacement. And then Bobby Hart got injured. I will be watching that very closely. I never thought in the world I'd be saying, oh man, this Bobby Hart injury is really going to affect the Chargers. But that is the reality of the situation. He's played better than Trey Pipkins played when he went in there, and with less time on the team. Trey Pipkins been on the team his whole career for 5 years now, has had a contract extension even, and he still just isn't quite getting it, committing a bunch of penalties, which is the worst part. I think at minimum, if Bobby Hart can continue to avoid having any penalties, we could make do with a few leaky pressures per game. That's fine. Herbert is very mobile, as you can see. It can't be both sides letting both edge rushers get through unblocked every play. We can't be double teaming the defensive tackle and losing every play. That's where it gets a little ridiculous, and that's why the Mekhi Becton injury is also scary. I've been saying it for a month now. I think Mekhi Becton should take a month off, not only to get healthy, but get healthy for one, rest up, and then get back in football shape, because these injuries have led to this guy all offseason trying to get back, and he hasn't really been preparing to play football. And you can see it out there. He's probably getting injured so much because he's not in football shape. It's a sad reality to admit, but when you look at Zion Johnson and compare the shape that he is in as a physical specimen, maybe not as a pass blocker, and you compare it to Mekhi Becton, bro, we're looking at a fitness model next to a obese man. I know it might visually not look that different when they stand next to each other. There's a difference in the fourth quarter when you just watch the effort, the energy that these guys have. But Mekhi Becton is the more skillful player. Way better run blocker downhill and a solid pass blocker. We need him out there. But just continuing to try and play through injury, it seems impossible for this specific player. And there's guys that can't play through injury, and we got to admit that. And if we want Mekhi Becton for the playoff run, which is when we really need him, Super Bowl big ticket Mekhi, this signing can still pay off if we get him healthy, but then just spend 2 weeks running gassers, goddammit. On a healthy body, just do a physical fitness program that can just get you back into the shape that you were probably in when you entered training camp and started to get these injuries. And then Tarheeb still went down as well. This is one we don't want to play with very long. We're thin at corner, in my opinion, already. The corners we have out there, in my opinion, are overperforming. We can't lean all on Cam Hart. If I'm the Chargers, I'm even considering trading for a corner. I think that would be my #1 need left. We already addressed the defensive line. We traded for Owe, which is paying off. It's Owe time. Our pass rush, fully healthy, looks absolutely ferocious. Top 5 in the NFL again. We need some coverage corners that can lock down in man coverage. Played very good against this Vikings team, this Vikings wide receiver core. It is signs of the secondary coming together. They had no time to throw the ball. Don't take too much stock into shutting down Justin Jefferson, because when they had time to throw the ball, yes, who got open? The #1 weapon we're game planning against. Regardless, we got 10 days off now. The Chargers don't play until next Sunday against Tennessee Titans in Nashville, Tennessee. And guess what, guys? We already got our tickets. We're going to Nashville, Tennessee, and I'll be taking all the equipment with me. We'll be making content, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you're a Chargers fan or not, please like this video. It's the free way you can support all my content. Even one will send this out to hundreds, if not thousands more NFL fans like me and you. It helps me continue to do what I do, which is follow all 32 teams around the league, and especially the Chargers, while you do what you do. Can we get to 6-3? I'm feeling pretty good as of right now, especially with the Titans being 1-6, going against the Colts this weekend, probably falling to 1-7. But I guess sooner rather than later, the ball definitely won't lie. Chargers fans, don't give up on this team. It's a special one. Who's got it better than us?
It takes talent. Yeah, you gotta have love for the game. Super Bowl to Hall of Fame. Touchdown. I hope that you got your head in the game. From the field to the microphone.